Hey YouTubers, welcome back to Desert Have a Garden. Here we are back on the high desert homestead, and it just has to be done. So you can see it, more concrete. So we've got more concrete to mix and fill into the top of the well pump house in order to finish off the sacks of concrete that we have. So it'll be the same as last weekend, where I helped Rick by filling up buckets of water and transporting completed or filled buckets of concrete to him and lifting them the first way so he can lift them up the rest of the way. Turn this water off. So today is a sunny, clear day. There's not a cloud in the sky, even though the forecast predicted the chance of thunderstorms around 11 o'clock. And we're hoping for something. We're hoping for a breeze or something to help stir the air a little bit. Otherwise, it's about 90 degrees already, full sun, and a little bit hot already for this kind of work. So we'll see how it goes.
Stacking dimes.
Come hither, you beautiful clouds. We need your shadowy relief. Yay, cloud cover! The last bucket of 32 bags of concrete. I think we're gonna go take a break on the patio in the shade. How's it look? So that's pretty low.
It's down there where the sunlight's hitting it.
Way down there.
Yeah, like right here.
The water inside the water tank is nice and full now, so we'll close this up and I'll turn the watering system onto manual to get some water flowing, and then I'll go troubleshoot over in the garden. You can see everything over here in the garden is really wilty and not looking well compared to last week when we were here. Even the sunflower is pretty droopy and sad looking. The tomato is probably the least affected. However, it is still a very small plant, and it does have these little flowers on it. So I think that the water wasn't running well because it was less than half full in the tank, and it is gravity fed. So because of the gravity feed, it doesn't have very much pressure if the tanks are not full. So now that the tank is full, we've got the water set to manual to run, and you can see it has, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ports that it runs from, but it's looking like this last one is dripping somewhere in the middle and not getting to where it needs to be. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so this one over here seems to be maybe blocked or something. Let's see if I can free it up. Sometimes it gets gummed up with like mossy type stuff. And it really seems like it is. Well, I might have to look at that off camera to see what's going on. But the rest seems to be running nicely now. And we'll get some water onto the plants, and it is actually sprinkling now too. The next order of business is to shore up the walls of the basement so that Rick can run the backhoe close to the walls on the outside in order to compact the dirt so that we can be prepared for making footers hopefully on our next trip. So he's got these boards out across, and he was using bottle jacks to get them in there wedged and get the walls all nice and strong. Way to be a helper, Louie.
A big helper.
Is that heavy?
Yeah, no?
Yeah.
No? It's okay?
It's okay.
All right, take it over the edge and set it down. Set it down right there. Perfect. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Could I just set those down right there?
Throw 'em in there.
Here, give them to me. Don't throw them in. Okay. I better climb under those things. Or around them. Oh! Or if I climbed under them, that's a dangerous way they could collapse on me. Oh, it's buried, but not like the other ones. Ah, there's a lot of wood down here.
Did you make it?
Yep.
It's already closed up. Keep going. Good to go.
All day long we were hearing all kinds of heavy equipment moving around, so we drove down on the quad to see what was going on. And it looks like they were clearing this big field as well as making an equipment yard for the property owners association. So we'll see what happens with that. Walk with me, guys. I have a confession to make. So I was getting a little bit cranky about doing all of this work on the well pump house, because to me the priority needs to be the cabin and completing the cabin and getting it wintered in before the snow comes. Otherwise we miss another opportunity to work through the winter on finishing tasks, and we're up against a timeline for the permit. And so spending 2 valuable weekends working on the pump house, I was getting frustrated. And I usually just go along with the program because I don't have the first idea about how to do building projects and things like that. And Rick does. He's definitely the brains of this operation. And so he always has a plan and an idea, and so I just go along with it. But yesterday I finally said, why are we doing this? Shouldn't we be working on the footer forms to start building the cabin? Well, the bottom line is he did have a reason. The reason was the concrete we had used last weekend was on a pallet that was in the way of where the footers were going to be. So that concrete had to be used up. Plus it was outdoors under a tarp, and we wanted to make sure it didn't get ruined. Now the second reason, the concrete we were working on today, or actually this weekend, was inside the storage container, and it was blocking access to other building supplies and the tools. So it was making it really difficult to get to everything. So bottom line is, he had to get through that concrete, and so we were using it up on the well pump house, killing two birds with one stone. And so that's out of the way, and we can refocus on the cabin. So sometimes we don't have the best communication, and sometimes we're not always on the same page, but we were able to work through things and figure it out and keep forward progress.
When you have a property like this that you're working on, it's really easy for junk to accumulate, and we want to enjoy the beauty there. We don't want it to turn out looking like a junkyard. So I spent some time this morning picking up some used and old equipment and waste in order to get rid of it and clean things up around there, keep it looking really nice.
With the good watering last night and then again this morning, you can see the sunflowers already perked up quite a bit. The leaves are already upright, and so it's looking nice. The other plants are not as perky. So I don't know, with all the setbacks of the garden so far this season, I'm not too optimistic about really even harvesting anything, but it just proves that it's really hard to run a garden intermittently. In order to have a successful garden, you really need to be there daily in order to troubleshoot any problems that arise and make sure that everything's running smoothly. So we'll just keep on checking up on it as we go.
Ever since we bought this property, we've enjoyed visiting this area off the main road that the kids have nicknamed Frog Creek, because there are frequently tadpoles and frogs in the water, and this is just an area that, I don't know if it's a spring or something like that, there's always water accumulated and running down this area.
Oh, my rocks are out. Rocks are out.
See any tadpoles? There were a ton of them last time. This is where the cows come to get a little drink of water.
Like little rowboats.
All kinds of little water bugs. What is it?
Mama, what are these?
I don't know. Some sort of a berry thing.
I'll leave them over here for anything else.
It's really important for us to balance hard work with some rest and relaxation, and one of the main reasons we got this property is to just enjoy a slight decrease in temperature from our regular home, as well as be able to enjoy the beauty. And there's trees, which there aren't really trees where we live, and it's all open range for cattle there. We love seeing the cattle grazing freely and just driving around and checking things out. So while we like to work hard, we also like to include some exploring and include our kids to make sure that they really enjoy this property too with us. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more updates in the future.